Hey, it's U5 C1.L2 complex fractions and unit rates. Take it away, Mrs. Benoit.
Hi, welcome back. New unit, same ideas. We're running these videos, right? So here we go. You watched the video on lesson 1 about rates and unit rates, and we're going to bring that a little bit into lesson 2. And by the end, you should be able to say, I can simplify complex fractions. And within those complex fractions, you're going to be dealing with rates and changing those to unit rates as well. So that's how that ties in. 2 examples that you will be able to do by the end of this video are 3/6 over 4 and 4.5 miles over half of an hour. In this one we have the units and that makes it the rate. This one we're just simplifying a complex fraction. So let's look at what a complex fraction is by definition. A complex fraction is a fraction with a numerator, denominator, or both that are also fractions. So fractions within fractions. You didn't think fractions could get any messier. Well, guess what? They are. You can have a fraction in the numerator, one in the denominator, or in both places. In this first example here, I have 1/4 over 2. We have a fraction in the numerator. And in this one here, I have 1 1/3 miles over 1/4 of an hour. I have a mixed number and a fraction, one in the numerator and one in the denominator. So let's look at how we would go about solving problems like these. Okay, simplify. So you're just going to take it out of the complex fraction and put it in simplest form. We have 1/4 over 2. And when we dealt with fractions in previous units, when we would say something over something, that meant to divide. So you're going to set it up like a division problem. And the numerator comes first, 1/4, divided by 2. So you're just writing it outside of the complex fraction into a division problem. Okay, 1/4 divided by 2. We know when we're dividing with fractions that it turns into a multiplication problem. And the second part, you use the reciprocal, or you flip it over. The numerator becomes the denominator becomes the numerator. That was from last unit as well. So 2 over 1 would become 1/2. 1/4 times 1/2, we can't do any cross simplification, so we're just going to multiply numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator. 1 times 1 is 1, and 4 times 2 is 8. So in simplifying this complex fraction, we get 1/8. Now a more real-world application of this is my next problem. Dom can jog 1 1/3 miles in 1/4 hour. Find his average speed in miles per hour. So we're looking to get this rate into a unit rate per 1 hour. We have 1 1/3 miles. And remember, you have to write those units. It's very important to keep those units so you know when you get done if you found the answer that you're looking for. Are you finding the miles? Okay. Over 1/4 of an hour. So this is going to translate into a division problem. 1 1/3 divided by 1/4. And it's okay if while you're working it out at this point that you don't carry those units over, just as long as you have them in the beginning, so we'll be able to bring them back in at the end. With mixed numbers, we have to change those into something before we can do our operations. Improper fractions, so you're going to do 3 times the whole, which is 1, plus the numerator, which is also 1. So 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. We now have 4/3 divided by 1/4. And remember, the division with fractions turns into multiplication of the reciprocal of this second fraction. So 4/3 times 4 over 1. 4/3 times 4 over 1, there's no cross simplification. 4 times 4 is 16. 3 times 1 is 3. Now leaving this as an improper fraction doesn't make much sense for us because we're looking to find Dom's speed, his average speed in miles per hour. So we're going to change 16/3 back into a mixed number, and you take the denominator and see how many times it goes into the numerator. So 3 goes into 16 5 whole times. 5 times 3 is 15, so that leaves us with 1. So 5 1/3 miles per hour is Dom's average speed. So using these examples, we think you're ready, and now you can see if you can hit the target. Can you simplify complex fractions like 3/6 over 4? And can you find the average speed in miles per hour of complex fractions 4.5 miles over half an hour and get the unit rate for that?